charges forward. Its long, forked tongue flicking through the air. You know its bite won't kill you instantly, but if it sinks its teeth into you, it's game over. This predator doesn't need to catch you now. It just needs to wound you and wait. The Komodo dragon is the largest living lizard in the world, a monstrous and voracious predator that will eat almost anything it encounters. On rare occasions, it's been known to attack and kill humans. And its method of delivering death is unlike that of almost any other predator. Biting, wounding, and waiting for the prey to succumb to death allows it to take down animals much bigger than itself. Things like water buffalo, an animal 10 to 20 times its size. When I started researching this video, I was excited to find the answers about the biological method of this killing technique. But what I found instead was one of the most perplexing debates in wildlife biology.
Oh, these guys are crackpots?
No, my opinion has not changed.
But they even actually contacted other zoos and told them not to participate with us.
I don't consider Komodo dragons to be legitimately venomous.
They're not actually going to let go of their position ever, despite evidence.
With one fundamental question at its core: are Komodo dragons venomous or not? This is a video about how a simple question is sometimes not as simple as you'd think, and about how even the top scientists in a field don't always agree on something that seems fundamental. So are Komodo dragons venomous or are they not?
I want one of those.
And why has that question sparked a heated debate in the herpetology world?
This is great grandson of We Rebuilding We. You already know what it is. You just come in the building, you press that like, you know, it's always about having different content, and that's us. All right, we're going to proceed.
For decades. Komodo dragons live on only 5 islands in southeastern Indonesia. Indonesia's 4 islands within Komodo National Park and the island of Flores. These are islands of stark contrast. Much of the area is dry, rugged, and rocky, with thorny vegetation. However, there are also dense forests, mangroves, and patches of greenery, especially in the valleys and coastal areas. And in all of this, the Komodo they can be found sunbathing trees and occasionally swimming between the islands. Scientists think Komodo dragons originated in Australia and migrated to Indonesia thousands of years ago. As larger predators went extinct, they became the dominant predator on these isolated islands. And for a long time, people in the Western world considered them to be myths. It wasn't until 1910 that Western scientists finally confirmed their existence. And though they might not be mythical dragons, they're a creature you would not want to contend with. Komodo dragons typically weigh about 70 kilograms or 155 pounds and measure around 2.5 meters long. But the largest verified specimen reached a length of 3.13 meters or 10.3 feet and weighed 166 kilograms or 366 pounds. But despite being a top predator, a Komodo dragon's bite force is relatively low. This might seem surprising, but a Komodo dragon isn't killing by crushing, it's killing by shredding. Despite what looks like a gummy smile at first glance, a Komodo dragon has 60 curved teeth, each up to 1 inch long. These teeth are razor sharp, serrated, and built for tearing flesh. The serrated edges help them saw through the meat efficiently, allowing them to rip large chunks from their prey. They might get damaged, but these teeth are constantly replaced throughout their lifetime. And if you look closely at their teeth, you'll notice the edge of them is orange. Scientists recently realized that the cutting edges and tips of the teeth have concentrated amounts of iron, which gives it that color. This thin coating of iron acts as a protective layer that keeps the serrated edges of their teeth sharp. These immensely sharp teeth can slash their prey's skin, muscles, blood vessels, and nerves. Often, this is enough to kill their prey instantly. For smaller prey up to the size of a goat, they can loosen their jaws like a snake and swallow it whole. They can eat up to 80% of their body weight in one sitting. That would be like me eating 150 quarter-pounders at once. Because of their slow metabolism, large dragons only need around 1 meal per month. After eating this massive meal, the lizard drags itself into a sunny location to speed digestion. And then it does something exceedingly gross. After it's done digesting, the Komodo dragon regurgitates a mass of horns, hair, and teeth known as a gastric pellet, which is covered in a rancid slime. That picture doesn't look that bad, but trust me, it's wild. I'm not going to show a clip because it's pretty gross and I don't want to get demonetized, but if you want to see it and other uncensored Komodo clips, head over to Nebula.
Video credits to Real Science. Video credits to Real Science. Collect. Let's go.
To watch that version of the video. But for some of the Komodo dragon's other prey, eating it in one gulp is not possible. Water buffalo weigh around 550 kilograms or 1,200 pounds. No Komodo dragon is even big enough to take one down outright. In fact, the water buffalo has a 100% escape rate from the Komodo dragon after a bite. But here is where the Komodo dragon mystery really begins. After the initial bite, the water buffalo will wander off and die a few days later. So how exactly is the water buffalo being killed? For years, scientists believed the Komodo dragon's droolie full of nasty bacteria that would enter the wound of the prey animal, dealing the final blow. I know I was taught this, and in fact, when you try to do research on this subject, this is still often repeated.
So the whole idea of bacteria as a weapon comes down to a 1980 book published by Offenberg.
This is Brian Fry, professor of toxicology in the Adaptive Biotoxicology Lab at the University of Queensland.
Early in the book, he describes seeing, the occasional water buffalo getting infected, and then that's the last you hear of it until the end of the book, where he postulates this idea of bacteria being used as a weapon, but absolutely no data in between, nothing to support this. And it was just seized on and ran from there. It became this enchanting fairy tale. But there's a very simple premise in science that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And bacteria being used as a weapon is as extraordinary of a claim as you could possibly make. Now, if you look at a dragon, and even in Offenberg's own descriptions, he describes the dragons as actually being quite fastidious in their eating, where after they've had a meal, they'll lick their lips and rub their head in the leaf litter and clean themselves up quite a bit. And then if you look at their mouth, the teeth are white and shiny and the gums are pink and clean. There's no rotting flesh hanging off of them.
This is to say that Komodo dragons are much cleaner than you would think. And then there's the fact that potent antimicrobials have been isolated from Komodo dragon blood serum.
So Komodos have actually a very powerful...
If all that bumping, teasing, and bleaching has left you with some country fried hair, well, come get yourself some fixin'.
Those are real dragons to me anyway, you know what I'm saying? Those are real dragons to me. They have the venom, that's so crazy. But the teeth, those dudes is crazy. I'd love to have one of them shits.
You can't have them farming bacteria resistant to bacteria at the same time. So it made no sense.
But this is not to say the water buffalo aren't getting infected, but it's not for the reason you'd think.
So like on Rincha, for example, the water buffalo are localized to just a few small valleys, and the only water source available to them are these rocky watering pools that for most of the year are stagnant. So they get filled with feces and then boiled in the tropical sun. And I remember the first time we went to the islands, I could smell these watering holes from like 2 to 3 or even 400 meters away. I mean, they reek. They're basically sewage ponds. And I remember as we were going to them, I was like, I've got some cuts on my legs, from a little boating accident. I better make sure to stay away from the water. And I had one of those little light bulb moments of like, no, it can't be that simple all this time.
So maybe the long-fabled lethal Komodo dragon bacteria was really just poop water all along. And this makes sense, because anytime a water buffalo feels threatened by a predator, it bails into the water, hence the name. And normally this would be a better strategy for them, but water buffalo are not native to these small Indonesian islands.
So in the marshes of Southeast Asia, the marshes are clean because the water buffaloes are living in these giant marshes and When they defecate, that just gets broken down by the plants and all the other processes in the water, so they flee into clean water. But in Komodo, they flee into water with these gaping wounds that they're fleeing basically into warm sewage. And any infection that's going to happen has nothing to do with the Komodos. It just has to do with the fact that the water buffalo is introduced to of Komodos, including captive Komodos and including baby Komodos as they hatch from the egg. The LA Zoo was super cool and let us sample the animals as they were hatching, swabbing their mouths before they even had their first drink of water. But what was fascinating about that study was that we showed that they have actually lower bacteria levels than a Tassie devil, a lion, or your average dog, or even your average 3-year-old kid chewing on their classmate's ankle. But even so, you still see on nature documentaries them talking about bacteria. Some of the guides in Komodo even still talk about bacteria, even though we disproved this, over 10 years ago. But what's particularly fascinating about everything was that Offenberg, in his own book, actually, without realizing it, provides the first with their intestines. Notes were usually quiet, seemed to be almost they were sedated, rapidly went into gait problems like they were dizzy, had some sort of neuromuscular. They said they bled much longer than we expected them, more than you would expect from the mechanical damage alone. They would slowly bleed out. Experiments that were getting thrown in jail nowadays, where they tied goats to trees, let Komodo dragons tear into them, chase the dragons off, and then just sat down and watched what happens to the goats. And they described that even like with their intestines halfway hanging out, the goats were unusually quiet. It seemed to be almost like they were sedated, rapidly.
I want to learn the routine.
One more?
Shock, displayed gait problems like they were dizzy or had some sort of neuromuscular issue. They said they bled much longer than we expected them to, more than you would expect from the mechanical damage alone. They just let the goat slowly bleed out over the next few hours. There was no clotting observed.
So Fry's light bulb went off again. These look like symptoms of envenomation. So this hint, Fry and his team set out to look for the venom. So first, they did an MRI scan on a Komodo dragon head, and they found what they identified to be venom glands in the mandible next to the mucus gland with one major and several smaller compartments. They stated that the venom would travel through ducts and emerge at the base of the and as for the venom itself, Fry and his team looked at the DNA of the Komodo dragon and found genes that code for a whole suite of complex anticoagulation and ultimately death.
Hypotensive toxins that are, and like these kind of hypotensive toxins have
Hero block. Come on.
So there you go, y'all. This is Great Grandson. I appreciate everybody for watching. Salute to Real Science. You'll go over there and you subscribe to that channel as well. Salute, everybody. Have a beautiful day.
Every light us out already got here one non-stop fire roll.
Got another brother, we rebuilding we. OG right there. Go subscribe to his channel.
Great Grandson in the building.
We rebuilding to last forever, reaching for the future. No matter the weather, we strong. We focus, get into the bag. Moving small with silence, never been the ones to brag. Haters see and hear the name, we rebuilding, we everlasting in the game. Stay far away from lanes. Praise the rules and Prince and Paul the name. We are not the same. Are not the same. We are not the same. Praise the rules and Prince and Paul the name. We are not the same. Are not the same. And we are not the same. Praise the rules and Prince and Paul the name. We are not the same. Na 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 na. Are not the same. Are not the same. This your buzzing and we are not the same.
It's free. Contact us on Instagram, WRWTVCH1, WRWTVCH1. We rebuilding we. Salute.